Hello.
What's up?
Hey, what's going?
It is mid-November 2022, and Joey, Scott, Michael, and I are in the Linville Gorge, Pisgah National Forest, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
It's a bit of an unorthodox trip for us today due to Tropical Storm Nicole, who is currently blessing us with her presence with lots of rain. This should move out tonight, and so we're just car camping here at the top of the gorge tonight, and then Saturday and Sunday we're going to do some hiking and camping down in the gorge with our packs. So we're making the best of the situation that's been handed to us, having a good time so far, good buddies out here in the rain, staying dry.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens the rest of the evening. We're going to hunker down for the night, get through Nicole, and then enjoy what should be a beautiful weekend after the storm passes.
It's time to hit. Exactly what we're doing right now. We'll see you in the morning.
Bring it.
And there's our site. Joey and Michael are already set up. Here is the view that we will be enjoying in the morning once the clouds and fog passes. Just got to make it through tonight. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We made it to day 2 of our unorthodox adventure in the Linville Gorge. Last night actually went really well for us. We battened down the hatches and rode out Nicole, and she passed midway through the evening. A beautiful big moon came up, started to light up the gorge. We got some views of the opposite rim, and then this morning we've obviously got a spectacular view right from our campsite here. Our plan is we're going to drive just a little ways down Old 105 to the cabin trailhead, and from there we'll begin our loop hike over the next 2 days, and we'll go spend tonight down in the gorge. That's our plan. It's an absolutely beautiful day forecasted today, and we're looking forward to hitting the trail.
Let's do it.
One last look at the expansive view of the gorge from our campsite. The Linville River is right down there at the bottom. We can hear it roaring and raging. We expect that it is going to be absolutely out of control when we get down there to the bottom due to all the rain that's come through.
All right, y'all. Don't let Lane fool you. This is what goes on behind the camera.
After a fun night of car camping, our hike has begun in earnest. Starting off with a road walk along Old 105, which is really just a wide gravel trail. It's not a bad road to walk on at all. Starting to cut down the gorge, heading towards the river along the Bynum Bluff trail. The Linville River is raging as expected. A ton of water has came through this area, and it all ends up in the same place, the bottom of the gorge. Bynum Falls at the terminus of the Bynum Bluff Trail. Heading back up from Bynum Falls, we're now on the Linville Gorge Trail. The Linville Gorge Trail loves to undulate up and down cliffs beside the Linville River. We've now come to a section that's back down by the river, but I'm sure we'll be back up before long. Looking down on Brushy Ridge Falls. At the base of Brushy Ridge Falls. Up, down, up, down. That's the Linville Gorge Trail. We've got some ornery looking gray clouds moving in. Hopefully they hold their contents to themselves. We had enough rain yesterday. Don't need any more today. a massive tree along the Linville Gorge Trail. We're taking a quick view break before we try to scale Babel Tower right in that direction. We are making our way on this day. Made it to the top of Babel Tower. We've got expansive views up here, looking down into the south of the gorge. Wow. Back on the Linville Gorge Trail, and we are seeking a campsite for the evening. Almost back down to the roar of the Linville River. Home sweet home. We've made the camp along the Linville Gorge Trail. This particular site doesn't have a lot of good areas for tents or hammocks, so we're kind of spreading out throughout the woods. A light drizzle has come in, so trying to get set up here.
In less than 24 hours, the Linville River jumped from its median November flow of 80 cubic feet per second to over 6,000 cubic feet per second. A 75-fold increase in the amount of water discharged and the highest recorded values for all of 2022.
On this trip, we're using the Grandfather Ranger District Map by Pisgah Map Co., in addition to the free Avenza map download for the phone. Let's take a look at the map for day 2. Starting at the cabin trailhead, we did a road walk along 105 to the Bynum Bluff Trail out to Bynum Falls. Short retrace to get on the Linville Gorge Trail, which we followed up to Babel Tower, and then down past Babel Tower Trail to where we set up camp for the night. Day 2 was about 6 miles. Day 2 of our adventure in the Linville Gorge has been a great day. Really beautiful hiking for us. We had some nice ridgeline views up top. We got down to the river and it has been roaring and raging. Multiple waterfalls along the way. And I think the highlight for all of us would be looking down from the top of Babel Tower, where we could just pretty much see 360-degree views of the gorge.
Babel Tower was sweet.
We dodged a bullet with the rain. There was just a light sprinkle that came through. Now the sky looks to be clearing up a little bit. We've got camp set up. We're gonna settle in for a relaxing evening. As long as nothing crazy happens, that'll be the end of day 2. Good night.
Good night.
Good morning. We made it to day 3 of our backpacking adventure in the Linville Gorge Wilderness, North Carolina. A cold night last night and a very cold morning this morning. We currently have a couple of light snow flurries coming down on us. What a way to escort us out of the gorge. We've got just a few miles to hike out. We're going to backtrack along the Linville Gorge Trail and then head up Babel Tower to the top of the rim before we have a short road walk along Old 105 back to our car. It's been a beautiful weekend for us. We're looking forward to getting finished up. And once we start climbing, we'll get a little warmth in us, which we really need at this point in time. We're ready to hit the trail.
Let's do it.
Let's take a look at the map for day 3. Starting at our campsite along the Linville Gorge Trail, we're going to backtrack to the Babel Tower Trail, take that up to the top of the gorge, and then have a short road walk back to our car at the cabin trailhead. Day 2, it'll be about 2.5 miles. Looking down on the wet pothole stretch of the Linville River. Leaving the Linville River behind for the trip. We're climbing up Babel Tower, heading towards the West Rim. Alrighty, Joey, we're getting close to the end of our trip before we tackle the road walk to finish things off. Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Another beautiful trip in the beautiful Linville Gorge. Tropical Storm Nicole made things really interesting for us. I don't think I've ever slipped as many times on trail ever in my life. I've done more of this one than collectively with all the other trips put together. My man Scott here was maybe looking like he wasn't going to be able to make it out, which would have been very understandable, but fortunately he was able to join us. Really stoked to meet that guy and hang out with him this weekend. Look forward to doing some more of that. Scott's a stand-up guy. Glad to have him along. Babel Tower, really sweet. Never really paid much attention to this end of the gorge, this north side upstream part of the gorge, and we saw a lot of it on this trip, and it's been sweet. The weather's been nice for us the last 24 hours, and we got some sunshine coming in now, getting ready to finish up, go have a good meal, and what another beautiful weekend.
Alright, Michael, we've got another adventure in the Linville Gorge coming to a close. How's the trip been out here?
I just had a blast of a time. It ended up being a lot shorter than we had planned. We planned on about 20 miles, but we got to have a lot of awesome views like this, which, I mean, this is just awesome complimentary. I brought some binoculars along. That definitely added to the dynamic of exploring the place. We did a little bit of scrambling up Babel Tower. That was, might come back with some ropes and climbing shoes. Yeah, ultimately though, I mean, it was just another trip in the books, and I can't wait for more stuff in the Linville.
Hey Scott, this is your first backcountry trip to the Linville Gorge. How's your experience been out here?
It was fantastic. I started off, well, first of all, just let me say I'm grateful for the invitation to experience this wonderful area and to meet these fellas. Hadn't met Joey and Michael up to this point, heard a lot about them, but they're fantastic and a lot of fun to be around. So I have to say I started out kind of bummed out about the rain situation, and to be honest with you, I almost bailed on the trip because of the rain and ended up changing my mind, just deciding to go with it, and it turned out to be like the best decision. This area is just undescribably beautiful. You just get a sense for how old everything is, you know, in the rocks and the plants, and it's just absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. One of my favorite moments of the whole thing was you know, last night it was pretty cold when we got to camp. Everything was soaking wet, and my favorite part was to see Michael just like he disappeared off into the woods, and then he just popped out with a bunch of dry wood out of nowhere. I have no idea where he found it, but it was because of him. We had a nice fire last night, and we got to sit around and you know, enjoy some conversation around a warm fire, and that really did make the night for sure. It was definitely very wet and tricky, but overall fantastic. Hope to do it again sometime soon.
Making our way along Old 105 to finish off our last little bit of the trip. This is the location that we car camped on night 1 during Tropical Storm Nicole.
Woo! Yeah!
Yeah. 3 days,
Yeah.
Linville Gorge Wilderness. We made it back to the trailhead safe and sound. I think these guys summed up our trip really well. I'll just add on and say, coming into it, we definitely had a lot of considerations and worries. Were we gonna postpone the trip, cancel it, move to a different location? We ended up making the best of every obstacle that came our way, and looking back, I don't really think there's anything I'd change about it. We've had an awesome time out here.
Yes, we have.
Indeed.
We're ready to get warm, get some warm food, and get a warm shower. And that'll be it for us.
Alrighty.
See you
Goodbye.
next time.